Okay, so I'm gonna start just here. Just go back here. All right, so we want to be able to again, just in this lesson, start looking. Oh, there's people coming in. Okay, sure. Uh, People and thanks. Okay, so we want to be able to also look just at just like starting that full dimension of your professional status. I know you guys are working. You should have a CV, I'm sure, by now. Um, but also just the way that you present a CV and put it together. Putting too much information is not really a thing anymore. You know, sorry, I see there's people coming in, and just more concise information again with some kind of reference and again summation is much more effective than kind of the olden days where a 20-page CV was a good first impression, right? Okay, so let's see an example. So there's a particular person, we haven't named her, but she's been creating her very own podcast, publishing it weekly. She is actively creating her experience log and she's putting in the hours of creating as much content as she can, knowing that she will need a body of work to show her future employee. So she now wants to take the next step and wants to start volunteering at a community radio station. She also wants to learn how to network and build relationships in the industry. She also asked if we have any tips for her job hunting and finally needs some people with creating a CV and cover letter. It is advised. Okay, so for example, um, uh, like just in this, what would you? Because let's say you put yourself in this situation before we actually go into some of the tools and the particular sites that you can go and look at. Um, what would be any advice to be able to, for example, doing cover letters, doing CVs in your experience of working? What hasn't worked? Or what do you see is not a good idea to include in your CVs or your cover letters? Anybody? Yeah. Nothing? Nobody? Okay. So I'll start you off. Obviously, for example, cover letters, very tempting to make them almost seem like a template, right? But cover letters should be one. I mean, obviously, it must include a more personal description of your professional journey, right? Without it being too wordy, you understand? So you're not writing the short story. It is very exhausting to read long cover letters as well. Don't make it too short. Don't make it too abrupt. You understand? Like, for example, like as an instruction sheet as well, because people don't like that too. And again, don't make it. Oh, I'm going to re-emphasize. Don't make it obvious that it looks very templatey. You understand? And so the person that you're going to send it to with your CV and whatever it is isn't seeing just a copy and paste of something else. You must show some interest in the company and the position that you are applying for, right? Within there to make it quite personal again. There is this line of desperation. You understand that that comes off from a lot of people's cover letters. And when we say cover letter, that could also be just the mail that you are actually sending through. But most people and also a lot of companies say it's optional, quote unquote, to like include a cover letter. Include it anyway. They're actually telling you include it, please, because like it shows some initiative, and I want to be able to see how you can describe more than what's just on your CV, right? So just back again to the whole desperation thing. It's the whole thing of using words like I love or I would love to work for. And it's very difficult to replace the word like I would love, because maybe you would really love to have this particular job at a station or at a company. And you would have to reword such a an emotive, and again it comes off as a little bit informal, a little bit kind of juvenile, and it's again, it's one of those things where you got to consider how one person behaves on let's say Facebook or Twitter, and well, how they the same exact person would behave on LinkedIn, and suddenly everything's polished. You're not going to see any posts that are kind of like meme-ish or whatever it is, because people don't like, it's not a place for that. It's just like, it's just not accepted, right? And so you got to be very careful with emotive words, and how that becomes a little too personal when you are writing that cover letter and trying to show your passion, you understand, in wanting a particular position, slash your passion in, what it is that you describe yourself as. Okay, important points to remember when you are volunteering and mentor, or being part of a mentorship. Like, mentorships don't really exist. This is exactly why I started one particularly for radio, because again, back in the day, a mentor, like the companies would go, and they would go to varsities and go look at the final year students, and openly invite for mentorships were very, very common. And also, they would pay for your studies if you would come work for them. So it would be that kind of like bursary exchange for work, where you're paying back your bursary and whatever it is. Very common. But then that started to fade away very quickly as well, and it became extinct. So mentorships just are too much work, quote unquote, so people don't want to do them. A mentorship is supposed to be, what is anyone's understanding of what a mentorship should be, or what they understand from the term mentorship. I want to go back to the class to see if there's any hands up. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of pick people. Okay, I'm going to pick some Piwe. You go ahead. Oh, okay. Nompumelela's got a hand up. You go first. Go ahead.
Okay, a mentorship is like a guiding program where they mentor you into, let's say, a job,
Okay. Give me
into
give me more. So let's say, share with us what you're busy doing, like what you're busy doing during the day. Where are you working?
yeah. I'm working at MultiChoice,
Okay.
and I have a mentor at digital marketing.
Great. Okay, that's great. Okay. So, do you see the difference between mentoring and teaching?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want to stop there. There was another person with a hand up. Who was it? All right, Patricia. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me more.
Sorry. I think mentorship is all about having a person who coaches you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you basically an advisor. So they provide you with expertise and professional knowledge, or rather, I don't know.
Yes, that's the thing is, it's a differentiation, and it's a specification on a person and their growth. Do you understand? So, for
Mm.
example, yeah, like let's say, I had three young women. Offense, I'm going to get to you in just a second. Like, they each have different goals in mind. Do you understand? So, one, to enter mentorship, you've got to have a certain skill set as an entry level, because we don't want to be teaching, we want to be mentoring. So you come in with knowledge, and you come in with, like I say, an understanding of skills. And so you got a basic skill, whatever it is, but you do stand out, hence why you are chosen to be a mentee, right? But the thing is that the mentor has to have a vested interest in, like you wanting to go a certain direction that is very different to the other person that he or she is mentoring. Okay, yeah, offensive.
Hi. Okay. I wanted to say that um, in order for you to be mentored by someone, you
Mm.
have to show some sort of potential,
Yes,
whereby whereby the person that's gonna mentor you will notice it and also take you under their wing and teach
yes,
you the ropes, teach you how things are being done, hence we have people who are called proteges.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and a prodigy is a strong word, you understand? Because a prodigy means like you're the next best thing, quote unquote, you understand? And that's so the thing is that your mentor must have a really, really strong belief in your mass potential, and their job is to get it out of you. But again, with like the deep comparison between, for example, like me as a lecturer versus me as a mentor, like I got to teach you stuff and then stop it there, you understand, and make sure that you get the skill correct. Whereas again, a mentor doesn't do any of that. They're like, okay, cool, so you understand how to do this, but like you say, that you are, like I say, like a prodigal son or daughter, that's pretty much, again, in their belief, like going to be a strong asset to an industry slash their own business slash their own business plan. Okay, great. Okay, so let's look at like the concept. Obviously, why is it good to volunteer? I mean, good, like radio stations, again, community. I've said this briefly. The whole thing is volunteer work. It's you're doing community service. They are training you for a skill that you would otherwise have to pay for in some or other way, or would not have access to. Do you understand? Like to get that training, they will train you and you will learn and you will have access to resources, and again, hands-on experience where you're starting to build immediately in turn for the fact that they will not pay you as you are doing it volunteer work, right? So any volunteer work is really good when you are, again, in the very beginning stage, like you might be. Again, I don't know everyone's background, and again, we'll get to know each other, but like you are in the very beginning of this particular process, right? So you want to be able to volunteer, let's say, for charities that are happening within your neighborhood. Just because it's easy access, you understand your neighborhood, you're obviously aware of what might be happening. It's a charity event as well. They would love the volunteer work to help, but also you would be able to understand different processes that and compartments of those cogs and wheels that make up, putting a charity event together, right? And so you will walk out there just for that little time, like that you do dedicate in volunteer work, um, getting a lot more. And again, also a good reference if you do a good job, because that's the idea. There was, for a couple of years we had I because I knew the station manager at Kaya FM quite well. So we would have like a bit of a thing, where they would take 60 students in a year, so 30 students, 30 students here, 30 students there, and they would do like their allow them to volunteer. Do you understand? And Neil would tell me, again, I've mentioned Neil is one of my, again, radio icons, right? But Neil would tell me that the problem with volunteering is that he, like, it's the dedication is up to the volunteer. And the thing is, again, if you pay somebody, you can demand things of them, or they can lose their job slash income. And the thing is, at that particular point, there was one certain year that really just didn't. I mean, they were late for work. They wouldn't answer calls. They would not do work. And he was, well, I mean, they actually just stopped taking. So we're talking not radio students. We're talking across the board. They would take 30 of our media students, and that was really not a good thing. Um, I'm saying to you, they wrote off Boston for quite some time before, only recently now starting to accept, openly, but very small amounts of people as, for the experiential learning, etc., etc. But the idea is when you get your foot in that door, man, that is massive. Like to get into, like I say, if you so even now you can go and volunteer at any of the commercial stations, and there's a good possibility, because you also are working, that they will allow you some experiential learning. So let's say about 60 to 80 hours, they'll give it to you. And the thing is that it is a great way to audition for them instead of interview for 15 to 30 minutes. Do you understand? Like, you there, and they will see you for you as a person, and they'll see your work ethic, and that's great. So it is totally worth, like, the time that you're giving up without getting paid. You understand? um so volunteer work within this industry, again, because it is extremely small and it's super competitive, right? Like, is something that is just gonna cross your path one way or another. The other thing is to volunteer at BMH Radio, right? So you can, I mean, you guys are part-time students. You just have to do one show. That's all, one show a week, like, or be, like, on a weekend. I'm saying to you, come for a Saturday afternoon, ask for that spot, and obviously explain to, let's say, Kabange, like, this is what you want to do. They're not actually allowed to refuse you, because we built the station specifically not for commercial use. In other words, that's why we don't have any advertising running on it. Like, it is purely a testing, like, it's a playground for students. You understand? So hence why it is such a small, it's a small proportionate to anything of a, like I say, like a public brand. So you could always just go there. But again, with your work experience, you've already been through a process of that already puts you in halfway any door that you are knocking on. Um, I mean, like working at multi-choice, you're already there, man. You're already doing your stuff, right? And again, as if I ask more questions, I'm sure more of you are sitting in certain positions that are power positions for learning more. Internships are paid for. So I'm saying, one of my mentees, her name's Zinclair. Like, she became an intern, a 1 year intern, now at Cape Talk, 567 Cape Talk, right? Um, and KFM, which is massive, because the thing is that is a paid for job. The internship means, they're going to put a year in training her in all aspects, knowing that she is going to land up anyway in programming, but she is, like, she's set. Already she's broken down that door. She did a little bit of campus radio. This is why she made for the mentorship as well. She stood out, and they, like, these things are done and they are available. The thing is that all you need to do is make sure that you are attentive to, like the possibilities that are out there, which means that you constantly have to be, like, putting alerts on your phone to go check for, SABC opportunities, obviously, like Prime Media, Kakiso, whatever it is, right? And again, I'm referencing particularly radio, because we are in the radio class, right? Okay. And you can go and watch this link, if you want to go look. TED Talks always the best, right? And having a look at why internships are so important, right? Because you need to be able to, again, follow what the station manager says, like Neil said. Like, the fact that like he was not looking to ask, like, one of the students to come in on time. That should be like, it should be clear. You shouldn't have to tell someone that to be on time for your job, right? Because, like, coming in for experiential, or for, again, internships, or for whatever it is, um, even if you are shadowing someone, come in on time, and come in a little bit earlier as well. Don't just make it there. Um, so that you can show that you value the fact that they are giving you the chance, right? So, has anyone ever, so the Y Academy, it's a great, look. The thing is, why I commend the Y Academy, is that it's the only one of its kind. In other words, that a station has decided to actually develop a subsidiary, educational, like structure, that teaches you, obviously, like the people that do get into the Y Academy are taught and then trained specifically for certain roles within the station itself. So that it's commendable in that way. Whether it's of a high quality or not, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter right now. It's not important either. The fact that it exists and no other station actually does it and has done it, even again, Y Academy has lost it, been something that's nearly 20 years old now, easily about 18 years old now. Does anyone know anything about the Y Academy, has tried to maybe apply for anything at all? I'm just going to go back to the class, just to the class to see whether or not.
I've actually applied for the Y Academy, but I never got response. Like
Okay,
probably like
okay,
5 years ago.
okay. That's not. I mean, that's, that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Agreed, right? And we go back to the whole thing about like answering, just answer someone as well. That's just common courtesy as well. When you did apply, what was asked of you?
I don't think I still remember. Hey,
Oh, is it? Okay. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
you said
I
most of it was
honestly
5 years
don't.
ago and stuff like that. Okay. Again, what I can tell, the thing is that I do, like, obviously, quite actively, YFM is always looking for, they always hold, and again, it's also a promotional stunt, which stations will do in rotation as well. You always see like they're looking for like brand new talent, and you've got to enter this like competition, and you'll do, let's say, like your entries on social media. So it becomes a whole most ordeal now, and that's cool. But the thing is that they have to land up somewhere in the company at the end of the day. So some company, like let's say, I think it was Good Up did it last year. So they did this whole thing, the spiel. I only know about it because again, I put two of my mentees in there, and they got through right to the final. But the thing is that once they got into the final, they were told that they are not guaranteed a job at all. Like this is just for you to actually come and be part of like the operations, in other words, but there is no job that is guaranteed at all, which I think is a bit stiff, in other words, like that's not fair. Like you go through this whole process, it's sold to you as, look, let's find the next big talent, and then they like that was just, I mean, like that word of mouth spreads very quickly, and also again puts a bad taste in people's mouth because they expected so much more, like the public also, because again it's about the public liking and sharing and also voting and whatever it is, right? But at the end of the day, it's a station decision. It always is. A station will never allow like the public to dictate like a business decision. But again, for that to be of that low standard at the end of the day, that the entrants, the finalists, right, could only basically just attend and do nothing more, was not how it should actually work. So when I joined my year, which was they 947 held a particular one at like a next talent search, but the it was a guy that landed up on traffic on breakfast. Bailey was doing weekend shows then. So was Kate as well. There were about 4 or 5 people that from the talent search landed up on air, and that's how it's supposed to be. But please be aware, like the internships are openly advertised, and they are advertised throughout the entire year. It's part of the commercial station's mandate now. They have to allow for like I say, for upskilling like the community around them, or people that are interested within their future, obviously media professionals. Okay, important points from like the references and the readings. Yeah, let's just remember that networking. I want to just make a thing about a comment about networking. People that, let's say you go to an event with the intention of networking, right? And let's say you've gone to go make, let's say, business cards or whatever it is. Like if you are the person that goes and most hands out, hi, 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 I am who you are, whatever it is, that is the worst way of trying to network at any type of social event, conference, whatever it may be, right? Who here can tell me like how they would perceive networking to actually happen? Patricia, go ahead. Oh, was
Sorry.
there?
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I'm gonna say this, but I've been to a couple of networking events, of
Mm,
which like a lot of people will be talking to each other, communicating. I think the best way from what I've experienced is to
mm,
just, engage in the conversation.
yep.
If they're saying something, just try your best to understand exactly what they're saying, include yourself in the conversations. Maybe
Mm,
you'll find yourself saying something that you would have wanted to say at the beginning of the day or beginning of the event.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. I'm looking for I'm gonna add to that, but I want to add obviously particularly offensive, yeah.
Okay, I have this other friend of mine who's into constructions. So
Mm,
every December on the 27th, it's his birthday. So he usually has a braai at his
mm-hmm,
place. So
mm,
he invites all his friends from different career paths. So when you get there,
mm,
I come there as a person who's into audiovisual and photography, and
yeah,
then you meet people who are into cybersecurity, others who are doing marketing or engineering. And now
yeah.
because you do photography and stuff, then you so much
Mm.
get contacts for you to come and do pictures, and others even invite you to their events as well. So it's
So what I
also
want
part of
to So what I want to pull from that is that an informal setting, like because that's like that's an informal setting. People are a lot more relaxed. They actually know why they're going there as well. The purpose is to, let's say, meet other people to help one another out. You actually see on if especially on LinkedIn as well. There are networking parties, so that it's made very clear. Like you must come on over here. Like everyone who wants to just like share their business, and perhaps maybe you'll meet someone that can, you guys can mutually benefit from one another. That's what you're basically talking about. But even it's better again to, well, there's I can see the merit in making it informal and making, like I say, like a little bit of a bribe. What I want to add to that. See, would you want to say something? I want to see. We just see. There's the mic is on. Okay, what I want to add to that is when you go, please, like when you go to a social event, right? You must target only three, let's say maybe four people that you want to or aim to have a conversation with and get something out of after that particular event, right? The thing is that one, it shows investment in, so they don't see you sitting there like kind of like, like whoring yourself out to just anyone and everyone. They saying, oh, you came specifically, you wanted to chat to me, you've done some research, you must have also precursored that with maybe like an email or a DM if that was where like your online relationship allowed it for, you understand, like where you again you preempted that and you made some effort into like really investing this meet and greet with them. That is you will land up, you will go back home with four like landed, like I say, network connections that you can actually like with validity use afterwards. But if you, like I say, go in there with your 100 cards and you start dishing them out, like there's going to be hardly no one that cares about that, because it's you're just another, like, what I'm saying to you, just another card that they just pack into. You've been offered cards by people where, you look at your wallet at the end of the day and it's just packed of cards and you've never looked at them again, as well. So rather plan the way that you network and do it in stages, especially on what it is that you want. People don't want to connect with you if you don't know what you want. So cool, that's great. Go introduce yourself. But then why are you over here? Don't always also say, I want to do anything. especially when applying, or when applying, let's say, I'm saying informally in conversation, or even in a mail. I would love to, I'm ready to learn from anything. Don't say that. Like, places, companies, and people are looking for people who know what they want to do and know how they can offer it. And that's really important. Again, there's so many ways that you can turn off like somebody in conversation for networking, and you really want to kind of stay away from that. Okay, so again, more videos for you to use in terms of applying for a job. Like, let's have a look at some of the points, and I'm really trying to push so that we do finish at 8, so that the guys with the load shedding, don't miss out on anything. Okay, I'm not going to always make it for 2 hours, guys, just so that we know that. Okay, please. All right, important points to remember from the reading. Know that the job details and the link link your cover letter, experience log, and CV to the job. Obviously, do your research and make sure that you know who is hiring you for the job. Research the facts and the stats and the business that you're applying to. Do things in person. It's always better than a virtual you. Ask some valuable questions at the end of the day that show that you are interested. So, when you do go for an interview, and because you are working, somewhat of the process, but every interview is not the same, and also interviews are few and far between as well. So make sure that you do create a conversation within that space. If they are interested in you, they'll want to answer questions. And again, it's not a Q&A. If you can create that conversation where it becomes a comfortable space for you to be allowed to open up, and them wanting to know more about you in that, like I say, in that process, then that's a really great thing for you at the end of the day. Once again, just how to write a powerful CV. From my point, like, my biggest advice to you, again, you can go watch this again, is to create something that looks really good as well. So put a little bit of effort into like the graphic design of it, like include like everything that you've done, if you only starting out in your obviously your work experience and your work life, right? But then make sure that you are very concise. Don't put paragraphs in that are like paragraphs. Like, put 2 or 3 lines that maybe describe something. Otherwise, use point form. Definitely always show what you were responsible for and what skills that you learned from it. The position, obviously, again, your references are really important, that you go and check. Go check with the reference first. You can now, as you know, have one professional and one personal reference. So you're allowed to ask your sister to be a personal reference, or a friend, or like I say, you're allowed to do that, because they want to know how you are as a person, not just a professional. But obviously check before that you are like these people are ready to receive either like a call or an email, whatever it is, that they are on, like that they're ready for it as well. Okay, so again, condense it. People do not like long ones, like long CVs anymore. And if you're a content creator, employees want to hear and see your body of work, which again means you've got to show that online, again, like you have been creating this content somewhere and posting it somewhere, and you've got like some presence. And again, just because it costs you nothing, and no one has to hire you to create content. How to write a cover letter with no experience? Well, that's quite easy. You want to do your skill sets that you've learned. That is important. Like, you must describe your personality, your ambitions, like your obviously, when I say your hobbies, everything's got to be landed as something that you turn into professional. You can write a great cover letter with no experience, but I'm saying, like, so formal experience, right? And still put on something really great to impress them, and get it going. All right, get yourself obviously that job. All right, so again, here's another. So here's another activity. I'm just going to quickly go to this. Let's see if I can just go to the 14D. It's over here. Give me a second. It's on page. Should have just included that. Activity. It's on page 5. So after, yeah, it's on page 549. I think that's somewhere in the previous slides. Okay. But the activity is list statistics you need to know about a radio station in order to demonstrate your knowledge in a job interview. Again, so that's again something that you just have to go do some research on, and the information is always again in your textbook. Read the following role specifications for an on-air promotions coordinator at Radio X, and then it'll show key accountabilities, more about Radio X, just like you would see in any description. And then it says there, create a CV of approximately 1 page to apply for the job. Create a cover letter of no more than 1 page. Please try keep it shorter. I would do nothing more than half a page, again, just to go and practice this particular lesson. Okay, so I'm going to close that off there, and I'm just going to stop that recording there. Are there any questions